Do we need to produce more food to feed the world? I think most people would assume, of course, we have a growing population. We're going to need to produce more food to feed this growing population. But contrary to popular belief, the problem of feeding the world is not about the need to produce more food in total. The world already produces 1.5 times enough food to feed everyone on the planet. It's actually enough to feed 10 billion people, the population peak that we expect by 2050. 70% of the world's food is produced by 3 billion small-scale food producers worldwide. So it's not the big corporations that are making all the food for us. It's the small farmers, 3 billion of them. Nevertheless, 1 billion people on the planet are chronically hungry. Even though we've got enough to feed way more than we have on the planet, 1 billion people go hungry. And tragically, 70% of those are farmers. 35% of the food produced worldwide feeds meat and dairy animals. If humans switch to an all-plant diet, all that agricultural land could produce 50% more human food, because feeding crops to animals that then become meat is highly inefficient. And it's not the best way to transfer that plant energy to people, obviously. At least 10% of global vegetable oil is currently being diverted to the production of biodiesel. And at least 6% of global grain is being diverted to the production of ethanol. And 30 to 50% of all of the food that we produce gets wasted in the world. So that's why we're not able to feed everyone, even though we've got more than enough. That's why 1 billion people go hungry. Now we have the financial markets. The share of the food market owned by speculators, uninvolved in the production of food, has risen from 12% in 1996 to 61% today. That's who is holding this food, keeping it away from 1 billion people. The 4 biggest grain buyers, ADM, Bunge, Cargill, and Lewis and Dreyfus, dominate 75 to 90% of the global grain trade, generating profits in the realm of $2 to $3 billion a year. We need to stop industrial-scale food producers from wasting the world's food resources on animal factory farms, biofuels, food that gets dumped in the garbage, and we need to obviously stop Wall Street from gambling on hunger. We need to stop speculation in the food markets. So that's what the G8 should be involved in. They're going to come out with a proposal probably today about how they're going to end world hunger. They're going to commit a certain amount of money to that. The big issues involving that, the critique of that is this money going to go to corporate, or sorry, they call them public-private partnerships? Are we going to just give the money to corporations and fuel the interests of the richest people in the G8 countries? Or are we going to channel that money through the country plans and let that money go directly to small producers who grow most of the food right now and need some resources to do it a little better to feed more people? So those are the G8 issues, but I want to bring up the issues that aren't being discussed by the G8. The G8 is not considering putting regulations on the commodity markets to reduce speculation on food prices. That's not on the G8 agenda, but it should be. Another thing that's not on the G8 agenda that needs to be is ending subsidies for rich farmers in wealthy countries. It just creates a terrible problem for poor farmers, especially in times of crisis, but all the time. They're constantly getting cheap exports from the rich countries dumped on them, and then they can't sell their goods at their local markets. So that's a terribly unfair trade practice that we have right now.